Anime has its best moments, but what are the most memorable ones? To answer this question today, I'm bringing you 20 of the best moments of anime each year. That's right, I decided to bring out the best anime moment of each year from 2001 to 2020. Ready? Let's get started. 2001, Baki vs. Hanayama, Grappler Baki. Kids before 2000 thought that Dragon Ball was the only show they could expect hyped up fights, but Grappler Baki came in 2001 and changed the game forever. The show was about muscular men pitted against one another in fights to near death, so what more could you ask? In this earliest Baki series, a fight that everyone was hyped up for was our main character's fight with Hanayama. Not to say Baki wasn't strong, but this big man, or big boy, managed to take the upper hand of the fight with his quick punching and element of surprise. But hey, anime in 2001 wasn't that quick to show the defeat of the main character at the hands of a muscular goon. With his head smashed to the wall, Baki makes an awesome comeback, and then shows his opponent who's boss. 2002, Rock Lee vs. Gaara, Naruto. Go back to the earliest Naruto arcs. Yes, even before Naruto and his BFF decided to fight for friendship, the fight that showed us the potential of this show is Rock Lee's fight with Gaara. The Sand Prince and the King of Martial Arts clash fists in the Chunin exam where the chances of victory are low and the tensions are high. Both students fight for their full potential, with Guy even letting Lee drop his weights so he could be more effective in the fight. But sad to say, the fight ended with a tragedy as Gaara cruelly crushed Lee's arm and leg. Even to this day, this is placed as one of the best Naruto fights of all time, and without a doubt, one of the moments why we all fell in love with the show in the first place. 2003, Edward vs. Greed, Full Metal Alchemist. So, who was the coolest out of all the homunculi? The answer is Greed. But the guy doesn't leave a good first impression. I mean, he does show he's strong, but he doesn't seem to be the friendly type. The 2003 Full Metal Alchemist series was the first series of the manga, and even though its ending deviated much from the original manga, it managed to give the same tone and feel of the work it was based on. This is the case with Edward and Greed's fight as well. The scene shines a spotlight on both the characters, showing their respective abilities and giving a good character introduction to our greedy homunculi. 2004, Ichigo vs. Renji, Bleach. Let's move back to the days where Ichigo ended up dying almost after each of his fights. Okay, perhaps let's even move further back almost to the first few arcs. So, Rukia's abilities were passed on to Ichigo, and people were searching for Rukia. And these people weren't friendly ones. Along comes Renji, the bully of all Soul Reapers, and decides to take Rukia back home. And by home, I mean hell. Ichigo, as usual, becomes a knight in the shining armor, but Renji seems way more powerful than he predicted. The sword clash ends in a bloodbath as Ichigo loses to Rukia's childhood friend. This was one of those episodes that taught us there were always more powerful Shinigami than Ichigo in Bleach. 2005, Kariya vs. Mugen, Samurai Champloo. When comparing old anime to new ones, one thing that you'll often see is a huge difference between animation quality. Sure, there were some fights where animators put extra effort, but most of the time anime felt like a movie running in 10 frames per second. But along comes Samurai Champloo, a show that gripped everyone's attention with its story, characters, as well as animation. And out of the many fights in the series, one that stands special is a sword fight between Jin and Mugen. The scene didn't last longer than 3 minutes and may look like an underrated fight compared to much modern day anime. But compared to the animation quality those days, this was gripping. Similar to Ichigo, Mugen learned his lesson. Never underestimate old men with samurai hats. 2006, the reveal of Zero, Code Geass. In 2006, Code Geass was a show that captured everyone's heart by storm. It gave off the classic Death Note feel, plus you've got a mecha action, a more political plot, and more than your average level of fanservice with all the female characters in it. What else could an anime fan in 2006 ask for? But more than anything, one thing this show was good at was delivering an epic season finale. In the final episode, things have turned worse for the Zero Gang, and in the last moments of the battle, Suzaku chases after Lelouch and finally cornering him in the island, gets proof that he's the man behind the Mask of Zero. Now, this is how you execute a tension-filled scene without any action at all. 2007 Gurren Lagann Final Fight. Remember how your teacher said to never give up? Now do you remember how that phrase got a totally new meaning in 2007? The phrase was almost uttered in each of Gurren Lagann's episodes, but the scene that showcased the final culmination of all those hyped up moments was the final fight against Anti-Spiral. You may call it a little unrealistic or something with absurd physics, but the purpose of this battle was to showcase how much Simon and his team had come from their starting point. They were no longer humans living underground, they were legends aiming for the stars. The impact of Kamina was clearly written in this scene, and without a doubt, this was one of the best scenes of Gurren Lagann. 2008 Taiga and Ryuuji's Confession, Toradora. Now I've been entirely speaking of action scenes, but want to see a romance done right? Watch Toradora. The couple who schemed behind their lovers' backs in the first episode had now realized their love for each other. And the result is a rather emotional confession on top of the bridge where each of them exclaims the feelings they were hiding from each other. Without a doubt, this was the most wholesome scene in the entire anime, and you have to admit, it was heartwarming than anything else. If you cried a little during this scene, I'm not going to blame you because, well, we all did. 2009 Everyone vs. Father, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood lived up to everyone's expectations, and it delivered a finale that was both epic and mind-blowing. And not just mind-blowing because of the plot reveals in action, but it was a combination of every element the show built up through its episodes. Everyone gave their best to stop the godlike homunculi from running berserk, and the guy to land the final blow was none other than Edward himself. By following the events in the manga, the Brotherhood series managed to stand out from the crowd, and boy, it delivered an epic finale that kept our eye glued to the screen. 2010 Shizou vs. Izaya, Durarara. Welcome to the town with the supernaturals. Durarara's premise was different than many anime due to its large cast of characters. And you might think we may forget a few, right? Well, not if you leave a good impression. And Shizou is a guy who always leaves a good impression. He literally threw a vending machine at his opponent, so what other proof do you need? Anyways, the gang rounds him up to give a beatdown, but that beatdown was limited to only one attack to the head. The rest of the gang was taken down with Shizou's fists, and Izaya was lucky to escape with his life. Next time, don't mess with the cool guy in the glasses. So yeah, this is a lesson to all the gang members out there. 2011 Shu Ouma awakens his power, Guilty Crown. Now if you weren't an anime fan in 2011, let me tell you, Guilty Crown was a big hit back then. Not the greatest hit or the one with the best reception, but its first episode managed to gain some huge viewership. One of the reasons was the soundtrack and the visuals. Both of them were well done, with the former giving a more hyped up feeling and the latter being beautifully done. One of the best moments of the first episode was the time when Shu awakened his power and gave off a modern knightly vibe, where he started slicing against giant mechas with an artificial sword. Needless to say, with the visuals and soundtrack, this scene was epic, and it is no wonder this is still considered as one of the best scenes in the anime. 2012 Makishima vs. Kougami, Psycho Pass. There are plenty of final boss fights in anime where the main character gets a power-up and gives his all to take his opponent down. But when it comes to Psycho-Pass, this final confrontation was rather different. Instead of visuals and explosions, you've got a 2.0 fight of Kakashi versus Obito, minus the jutsus and all that. So Kougami tracks down the mastermind behind all the plans, Makishima, and the genius seems to be good with his fist as well. The two fight on the top floor of the building, sometimes combining martial arts and other times smashing objects at each other. Broken bones are the only things they got after this fight, because with the tragic backstory of these two, those punches seem to hit really hard both physically and psychologically. 2013, Eren vs. Female Titan, Attack on Titan. Back when Attack on Titan wasn't the show about racism or fascism, badass queens, and Mikasa trying to cut her hair short every season, it was all about Titans trying to kill humans. Or in worst cases, Titans trying to kill Titans. Case in point, Eren's second fight with a female Titan. Now the first fight was good in its own way, but change the setting to something more brighter and give a power up to Eren, and then you see the true potential of what Wit Studio accomplished. Blood is spilled, faces are squashed, and what do you know, it was all for nothing. But we're not here to speak about the consequences. We're here to appreciate the fight. And let me tell you, that was a damn good fight. So, hats off to Wit Studio. 2014, Shiryu vs. Arthur, Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works. Remember that nerdy orange-haired guy who tried to date King Arthur in the original Fate Stay Night? Well, that kid has come a long way. Perhaps it might be thanks to his new tsundere girlfriend, or perhaps how he had a rather cold-hearted indirect mentor, his own future self. In the climactic battle of the season, Archer, aka Shiryu's own future self, brought back in time as a servant, fights off Shiryu in a reality marble he created. Swords aren't the only thing that clashed in this fight. There was a rapid argument about one's ideals and whether Kiritsugu's path was right or wrong. This may be obvious, but Ufotable without a doubt had done a great job animating this scene with its CGI mixed visuals. And props to Shiryu for finally standing up for himself against Archer and proving his argument. 2015, Saitama vs. Boros, One Punch Man. If Attack on Titan was the big hit of 2013, then the bald-haired man with a white cape was the big hit of 2015. One Punch Man was one of those anime that broke the records just because it was original. I mean, the main character of this show has plot armor more than the plot itself. The final fight of the first season was an epic showdown between the One Punch Man and the One Punch God Boros. And Saitama finally found a worthy opponent who didn't die after one punch. The fight was on a whole new level when it came to the visuals and choreography, and everything from the beginning of the fight to the end were stunningly animated. Saitama got the fight he wanted, and we got the fight we wanted. What more can you ask for? 2016, All Might vs. Nomu, My Hero Academia. Want to see the world's strongest hero in action? My Hero Academia doesn't stop you from enjoying this. In the last episode of the first season, the students are cornered by the gang of villains and along comes the Nomu, a birdman far more stronger than your average garden bird. In fact, this monster managed to bring All Might to his knees. But this is a shonen anime, so it was not the time to remove the spotlight from the main character's mentor. All Might is once again back on his feet and he teaches the monster never to mess with the hero. This was one of the most important fights of the entire series since it finally showed us what a battle between strong heroes and villains look like. 2017, Tetsuya vs. Masaki, Irregular at Magic High School. The magical big brother is not only good with magic, but with guns and bullets as well. So, get a Cowboy Bebop fight and magic to the question, what do you get? The fight between Tetsuya and Masaki, of course. The two rivals of the opposite school finally goes a fierce gunfight in a one-on-one duel, and let's just say, cowboys would have paid damn good money to enjoy this one. The fight showed how both opponents are tactical as well as skilled. They maintained a calm composure the entire time, and the only time Masaki looked panicked was when Tatsuya appeared behind him and gave a snap to make Thanos shed tears. Without a doubt, this is one of the best anime gunfights of all time. 2018 Fighting Chudokin, Sword Art Online Alicization. Sword Art Online is no longer the show you should mock, because with Alicization came one of the light novel's best arcs, which showed Kirito and his new gang in full action. One of the least mentioned bosses in this season is Chudokin, and even though the fight was short, we all saw the potential of this season via this fight's visuals. Kirito was on a whole new level, and so was Sword Art Online's new season. Apart from featuring some gorgeous visuals, the anime also complemented the teamwork of Kirito and the gang, while also hinting us what was about to come. 2019 Alter Saber vs Berserker, Heaven's Feel Lost Butterfly. Give Ufotable a movie budget and they'll make a movie that can wreak havoc on theater screens. Seriously, after watching The Lost Butterfly and Spring Song movies, every anime feels like a step down from Ufotable animation. So here we have the giant servant pitted against the corrupted saber, and let me tell you, these two managed to destroy an entire arena while fighting. The attacks were filled with large magical attacks, sword swings, explosions, and all the glory you could expect from an anime fight. It was sad to see our reincarnated Hercules die so bravely, but we all should know that we're meeting certain doom when we go to fight with a saber with sunglasses. 2020 Satoru Gojo vs Cursed Spirit, Jujutsu Kaisen. So, bringing it back to 2020, present time, and even though the year didn't have any best moments, the anime in this year had plenty of hype moments to speak of. So the one I'm about to speak of is Jujutsu Kaisen. And when speaking of Jujutsu Kaisen, which character comes to your mind first? The white-haired, cheerful Kakashi Sensei, of course. Satoru Gojo showed his true colors in his fight with the Cursed Spirit. Not only did he easily take him down, but he showed the spirit some cool tricks during the fight as well. Honestly, people should think twice before messing with a guy so overconfident. Then again, Gojo does say he's the strongest after all. So, 20 years and 20 great anime moments. Which did you enjoy the most? Sound off below in the comment section. As usual, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon so you can be instantly updated as soon as we release a new video. Stay safe, anime fans, and I'll see you in the next video.